Mic check, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Sani Bonani, Kunjani. Hello and how are you? So I've decided to do a series of, so you can get to know me, Jabulani, J-Mac, and how it is that I am retired at certain, people are saying at early age. So in this first video, I'm going to tell you about my experience. I'm a retired educator, so I'm going to experience teaching in this first video. First off, just how did I become a teacher? I'm the oldest of 3, born to 2 educators in a small town in Alabama. Well, not that small, but a pretty small town. Basically, everybody knows your name and your business. It's a small town. So we all liked what our parents were doing as educators, the impact that they had on the community and all. And so we ended up going into education, all 3 of us, even though our parents did not want us to. But so actually, when I went to undergrad, I started out as an accounting major because I wanted money. But the stress from the first semester of that school of business, it was a lot. Most of the people that I graduated with or that finished the school, they're making a lot of money, but they're smoking or drinking every day, just stress. So I'm glad I didn't do it. Someone, I forgot who it was, but they advised me to look for a career that I would enjoy getting up to go to work every day, make enough money to live, and just so I could be happy that way. And also, find a career based on my hobbies. So I was always into music. I was a minister of music, assistant minister of music with my father. And I had my own church for a brief period of time. So decided I wanted to teach music. I started out, with my classmates at I was at HBCU. So I was in the marching band, of course. That's how I got to go to Paris. But I decided that I did not want to teach band because I was young and I did not want to give up my Friday nights. So I ended up teaching music. I was dead set on going to Atlanta. Had to be in Atlanta. I only applied to interview Atlanta public schools. Of course, they wanted someone with experience. I had one interview, and they wanted someone with experience. So my thing was, how am I supposed to get experience if I don't get hired? So I actually started out my first year as a substitute, which was funny in itself. Most of the time when I subbed at my mom's classroom. And it was funny because the kids thought I was her husband because we had the same last name. I'm like, do I look old enough to be with that? No. But October of that year, I got hired for my first position as a middle school music teacher. Now, that was interesting because I was hired and interviewed and was in the classroom. I think I interviewed on a Friday and I was in the classroom that Monday or that Tuesday. I was still living at my parents' house, so it was like a 45-minute commute to my school. I was in a trailer in the back of the school. I was in one trailer and the band teacher was in another trailer. My trailer did not lock. My trailer did not have any furniture. My trailer did not have any materials. So I had to scavenge and get materials, get furniture for my classroom. And I didn't want to put anything in there that could easily be taken because it did not lock. So I was working in the Birmingham area, Birmingham, Alabama. I worked there for 3 years. This is where I learned a lot about being creative with classroom discipline. My principal at the time, very good principal, but she was working on her doctorate, so she was out a lot. The assistant principal, who is no longer with us, when we would have discipline issues, basically they were sent back to the classroom. I would have fights. 10 minutes later, they would be back in my classroom. I'm like, okay, so I need to come up with my own plan. So that's when I got creative. And I took advantage of the fact that I was in the back of the building in a trailer. So I would call parents up and I'd say, don't even check in, just come straight to my classroom when they'll have an issue. Two incidents that I'll share with you that stood out from that teaching experience. First, I had a child in 6th grade that was about 6'2", and you couldn't tell him anything. Could not tell him anything. Was a disruption in the classroom, disrespectful. So I called his father up there. His father just did not believe me. Well, I called his father to tell him. He didn't believe me. So I told him, I said, just come up to the classroom. You don't have to check in. Just come to the classroom. This is my trailer. Don't even tell me when you're coming. Just come and stand outside the trailer. Any day, this is the time that he comes to my class, and I want you to see for yourself. So about a week later, I didn't know Dad was standing outside the door. Son came in, being his usual self. Now, Dad was about 6'4". I'm 5'9". Dad almost tore the door off the trailer getting in there to that guy. They tore up my trailer. You got me up here calling this man a liar. You up here acting a fool. I mean, it was like a wrestling match in there. They were just like destroying everything. And, I had something in my eye at the time and, didn't see everything, but I was like, it just felt good to be avenged. Second incident, I think I was 22 when I started teaching, and I had a female student in the 8th grade because I was at a middle school. Had a female student in the 8th grade. She was 16 years old. Had the biggest crush on me. Talking about she wanted to go out with me. I'm like, girl, no, you're a student. I am the teacher. No, that would never happen. And she wants to brag. Oh, I've dated men older than you. I'm like, well, that's not saying much. So after that, after I dismissed her like that, she became a problem. She wants to disrupt my class since I won't talk to her. So I called her mom up. Mom comes up. I had a class at the time. She comes up. She comes into my trailer. She's like, where the teacher at? I said, me, right here behind the teacher's desk. Oh, that's the problem. You look like you're 16 yourself. That's the problem. So, apple don't fall far from the tree. After 3 years, I just, I wanted to be in Atlanta. Really, really bad. So I kept applying, and I learned about the metro area and how many school districts were in the metro area because I just was focusing on Atlanta Public. So I applied in some other counties, some other cities, in the metro area. Had one interview for a band position, didn't get that, and I had one interview in another school district. And it was, again, another one of those quick interviews back in the classroom. So by this time, after my 3 years in Alabama, I moved to Atlanta because I was just really frustrated with the conditions that I was working in Birmingham. So I said, when we finish out this school year, I'm going to move to Atlanta. And if I don't find anything by the time the next school year starts, I'll just flip burgers or something because this teaching thing is not working out for me. So August, I had one interview at an elementary school. The principal said at the interview, she said, I hope you choose us. I was thinking, don't you choose me? So we interviewed on a Thursday. Tuesday, I was in the building for pre-planning. I was at that school for 7 years. It was an awesome experience. I taught general music. It was the first school was a middle school, 6-8. This school was an elementary school. At the time, it was kindergarten through 7th. But by the time I left, it was pre-K through 5. So, I would see all the students in this building, so I knew all the kids. They loved coming to my class because I was doing something that I love, working with music and making it fun for them. Talking about history, how music fit in history, how music fit into different things, different aspects of your life. They were amazed at how some songs they would listen to on the radio, some popular songs were actual remixes or sampled older songs. I would start playing one song and they would think it was a popular song, but then when they heard the original, they were like, what is this? What is this? I also exposed them to some historical musicals like Stormy Weather and Cabin in the Sky. And they were just, at first they said, oh, we don't watch this black and white movie. But they were just thrilled. If you've never seen the dance by the Nicholson brothers at the end of Stormy Weather, just Google it. It's on YouTube. It's amazing. So they were really excited about that. I would have a performance for monthly PTO meetings, PTO I think it was. I would have a performance, and that would get parents to come out because they want to see their kids perform. It was either a play or a musical or a choir singing or them playing instruments or something like that. So those became like the big thing of the school year. Like, what month are my kids performing? That type of thing. Eventually, I had to come to a point where I would have parents sign a permission slip saying that they would actually stay, because parents would drop their kids off and go and do whatever. One group of parents, one couple, I remember very vividly, they were very late picking up their child. Everybody else was gone. And by the time they got there, it was obviously what they were doing. It was obvious why they were late. And let's just say, I kind of went off. But, yeah, y'all need to do that on your own time. This is not the babysitting service, so y'all can go have super happy adult fun time. No. So, but the performances were a lot of fun. I remember one performance in particular where the kids had a dance that they did on the risers that they were performing on, and it collapsed. They wore them out. Nobody got hurt, fortunately, but I thought I was done. But, everything ended up being fine. I connected with a lot of good people at this school district and, decided to further my career. And I ended up going to grad school because my principal gave me a lot of leadership opportunities. She said she saw some leadership qualities in me. Actually retired before I left. And she gave me 2 paddles that she had mounted on the wall for decoration. One said hearing aid and one said attitude adjuster. So I still have those paddles today. And now I never used them. Well, I'll get to that in another video. At school, and there were other people that were getting master's degrees in counseling. I got mine in leadership because I enjoyed the leadership responsibilities that I had. I was over transportation. I was over some scheduling. I was over lunchroom monitoring. I come up with different programs to help kids, behave in the lunchroom, and incentives for them to behave in the lunchroom. I was given the authority to suspend kids off the bus when they would fight. Of course, the principal would sign off on it, but she would let me do the investigations and things like that. So, because my class was well disciplined, because of the things that I learned during my first 3 years, just being creative. I remember once where I had a closet, like a storage room in the back of my music room. I had a nice music room, but I had a closet in the back, and I turned on the lights one time so you could see the lights on at the bottom, at the crack of the door, and I put a pair of shoes back there. And I told the kids, one classroom I had a couple of discipline problems, so I said, I have somebody's dad is back there. And I asked them to stand back there and just listen to the classroom. So if you're one of those people that come in here and act up, then you're going to get dealt with when you get home. So they kept, it's the perfect class. And they kept looking back, to see if anybody was coming out of the door. Another time I took an old-fashioned camera and I put it up on one of the shelves, and I said, I'm just going to videotape. We could not videotape kids, of course, but I said, they didn't know. So I said, I'm going to record this class and send it to somebody's parents. But it was fun being creative with my discipline. And hold on, sorry for the airplane. So it was very fun coming up with creative ways to discipline my classroom, and I actually helped a lot of other teachers when they had classroom management issues. But the kids enjoyed coming to my class, and whenever I would have to cancel class, because sometimes my principal would be out And she would tell me, she would be out for a principal's meeting or something like that, principal's monthly meeting or something like that, or some other meeting. And she would tell me to cancel my class, get a radio, and like serve as like an assistant principal. Who the other teachers hated me, and the kids were mad at me because I was not having class that day. And so my coworkers were like, "Who is he that he gets to do this?" Blah blah blah. I was like, the golden child. That's probably who I am. I don't know. Those administrative duties, it inspired me to go to grad school and get my master's in ed leadership, to hopefully one day become an administrator. Did not want to be a principal because I did not want all that responsibility, but I wanted to be an assistant principal, to help out and just do those those administrative duties full time. I think that is it on the highlights of my teaching career. This is going to transition into the next video of me becoming an assistant principal. The last year that I was at this school, the district started opening middle schools because kids in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade were in transitional time in their lives. Their bodies are developing into becoming adults, but they still had a mentality of elementary kids, so they needed to be in their own building so they can deal with those emotional challenges together, and have a special arrangements for those students. So that's where middle school came from. When I was growing up, we had elementary, I think it was K8 or K7, and then I think there was a junior high, 8, 9, and then high school was 10, 11, 12. By the time I got to 5th grade, they opened up a middle school. So that's the structure I was used to, like elementary being K5, middle school being 6, 7, 8, and high school being 9 through 12. So that's what the district that I was working in, the last school district I taught in, became that. Elementary schools that fed into middle schools that fed into high schools. So my school was going to be feeding into a brand new middle school. I thought this would be an opportunity for me to become an assistant principal, because most of the middle schools that were opening would have 3 assistant principals. So there were a lot of positions that were opening up. And I was finished with my master's. I had my degree in ed leadership, my certification and all. So I started interviewing. I interviewed at the school that we were going to be feeding into, but the principal already had her, assistants, but she offered me a position as a department chair, because my current principal spoke highly of me. Even the principal that replaced my principal that hired me, she spoke highly of me. I think I worked with her for 2 years. After my principal retired, she spoke highly of me. So the principal of the middle school hired me as department chair, so I taught 1 year middle school, that school before I didn't even interview. She actually appointed me to be an assistant principal, and I'll tell that story in my next video. That's my experience of how I became a classroom teacher. Some of my experiences, which I had lots of them. I was in the classroom for a total of 11 years before I moved into administration. So the next video will be about my 5 years as an assistant principal. Thanks for watching, and I hope you heard me well. Since I have my microphone now, I was finally able to hook it up to this new camera. I read the comments, and I appreciate your feedback. So again, like, comment, and share. Siyabonga. Thanks for watching.